There is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. Peter F. Drucker. My friends, the reason we have worked so hard on these charts over the years to come up with the chart that we used, I have gone through dozens of indicators and I have honed it down to basically what folks like Jesse Livermore taught back in the 1920s and such, where you're looking at volume and you're looking at price. Now, we've improved it, of course, with the Heikin-Ashi candlesticks invented in the 1960s. And of course, we have trend lines. We have a chart that throws up here visually 3 time frames: the half day, the 195-minute chart, the 2-day, and the weekly. And when I say 195 minutes, that is a half day in the market. Remember, market opens at 9:30, closes at 4. So again, it gives us an intraday view. It gives us 2 days on the 2-day chart, and then of course 5 days on the weekly chart. We trade off the weekly. Why? Because it's a big chart for big money. And again, it works like a charm. Does it work every time? No. That's why we have the always winning method, where we limit our losses, let our profits run. You don't even have to be right, but 4 times out of 10 to see things go in the right direction for you. We've got great trainings on that. So I'm excited to talk to you about where these markets are. Of course, we are long the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. The trade that really gave us the proper entry point was, of course, the NASDAQ 100. It's up 0.23% for the day. But as always, we will start with the S&P 500. It's about flat. In the end, up 0.01%. And of course, we see on the 2-day chart as things continue to move up. This candle has finished drawing today. It's the Friday, Monday. We see, again, volume starting off slow. It was not up to even average volume last week, just below average the week before where the turnaround occurred. We'll see how much more this market has. Are we going to see a ceiling here? You know, where it popped up to before. Is the market giving one last try to lick it? And then is it going to roll back over? Is it going to push through? We'll see. We don't know. We don't know. We'll let the charts tell us. Like we said, things are moving up. We had not a great turnaround. Again, the trading chart for us is the Qs, not the S&P. But again, we'll see as things move along. We can see on the 2-day and the half-day, we're above that weekly trend line, which we have tracking on all 3 charts. Let's look at the NASDAQ 100. It's up 0.23% for the day. You can see the 2-day candle is higher than those priors. And of course, on the half day, it popped up much further in the morning, pulled back some in the afternoon, but again, starting off all right. You can see we had a little bit higher than average volume on that turnaround week with a green spinning top after the interim low with above average volume. So, well, actually that was back a week prior, the week the 15th of April. And we had nicely higher than average volume. Again, we want to see the market find a bottom or a top if it's the opposite. If you're going to green to red, red to green, again, we want a peak, whether it's a peak low or a peak high, and then we want a nice turnaround, typically with a green spinning top with average or above average volume for a bottom, and of course a red spinning top for a top. So let's continue to watch as things progress forward. Let's move on to bonds. Bonds up 0.26%. Now again, bonds, not an easy call here. You know, we had where the interim low was, didn't even have average volume. Didn't have a green spinning top, but a red doji with higher than average green volume, which means only that the market that week opened higher than the prior close. If you have red volume, like we saw the week starting the 1st of April, we had a green candle before. The red volume only means, it doesn't mean it was negative volume, doesn't mean there's positive volume. The market, this indicator just adds in all the volume together. What the color shows us is that it opened lower than the prior close for the week beginning the 1st of April. So just keep that in mind when you see the colors. That's all it means, but it does help us. it does help us to know, like the position of the candle opening again, which sort of sets the tone for the week. So that's good to know. Now, as we look at where things are, up 0.26%, not reaching the high of last week yet. Again, not a lot of volume last week. The bonds look very similar to what the stocks look like when it comes to volume and movement. So again, we'll keep an eye on things. We are long on bonds, but not excited about it. It wasn't anything that we would have posted that trade on. Now, let's look at where we are with gold. Very interesting. Gold down for the day, 1.12%. And again, gold is just in this little range-bound area where it's not breaking out, it's not breaking down, it's just sort of sliding sideways. We had a doji and then a red spinning top. That was the week beginning the 22nd and then the 29th of April. Then we saw a green spinning top with average volume beginning the 6th of May. This week, we have a little green candle, of course, opening lower than the prior close. That's why we have the red volume, and we will keep an eye on gold to see which way it's going to go. I've told you guys as we look at GDX, this is the Gold Miners ETF, and we can see where the Gold Miners ETF, has been moving up. Haven't hit the high of last week yet. It was down, let's see. I don't have this plugged in, so I don't have my figure here. But we can see that, again, not hitting a high is putting a green candle in for us. So there we go. And we can see I was down in the morning, further down in the afternoon. But again, we've just sort of got the residual drift there. Doesn't mean that gold is going to do what gold miners is, but I sort of like to compare and contrast them. And we'll see how the week continues to develop there. But as far as pulling the trigger on anything, we're nowhere on gold. What about HODL? Up for the day. Bitcoin, this is the Bitcoin ETF, up 4.09%. 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin right now up 2.70%. We can see where Bitcoin popped up in the early morning hours on Monday and went a little bit higher than that during the afternoon, and since 3:30 this afternoon hasn't gotten up to the prior high in the morning at 2:30 a.m. And of course this afternoon during that 12:15 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. candle. So again, as we watch Bitcoin, we can see these dojis on the 2-day chart. We can see dojis on the half-day chart. I'm sorry, the weekly chart. I'm hoping things will just continue to move down and at some point give us a good reset for a nice clean up move. But again, nice up day for, I'm sorry, I was looking at 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin. Here we are with Bitcoin ETF. Again, just sort of a doji there after a spinning top previously. So as we keep our eye on things, we'll see where Bitcoin is leading us. Could this be a start to an up move in Bitcoin? It could be. Don't know that it's going to be. But we'll keep our eye on things. And if and when Bitcoin starts to take off, I'm hoping it's going to be a nice clean up move with good volume and good candles that'll literally show us the right direction. That is where we are as we end the day on Monday. We're always happy to hear from you. CW@chartingwealth.com. We sure appreciate our Patreon members' support and underwriting of the channel. You appreciate what we do here at chartingwealth.com. You can become a Patreon member too. And of course, first thing you'll get is Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth way. God bless my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.